So this is going to be an appreciation video. Of course, a lot of controversy over with John Cena and his recent mistake of geography over Taiwan being a country, but that's just a mistake. I don't think people get it. Like, you can make mistakes. There's idiots that say that Canada's a state of the United States. I heard that before. But instead of like John Cena, the not that good as your social studies teacher. We're talking about John Cena, the performer, and how much WWE has dramatically declined, mainstream wise, quality wise, and the main event wise without John Cena. And I think this is just an appreciation video because as much as people like, especially there was hate videos back in the day for John Cena because he's mad corny over essential most promos. His merch looks stupid. His always burying younger talent. Technically, who else was more profitable than Cena? This guy has still made good profit over for the WWE over its grammatical change from TV-14 to PG. They've been over in the financial swing of things over with John Cena in the main event for a near decade. Cena has been able to at least make some essential stars, and even if they could, they just weren't as profitable. John Cena has the most memorable merch. Let's just keep it a buck. Whenever you see any kids that even watch pro wrestling still, they'll still talk about John Cena. He's the most mainstream guy about it. It's like, what? Okay, what you remember about John Cena? He has a catchy theme song. He has colorful T-shirts with jean shorts, and he runs over to the ring. He's just a PG Hulk Hogan with just a bit more intelligent talking ability. Like Hogan is grand dogging. Cena just has that much charisma to make it feel like you need to get ready for a war. And all the kids out there think I'm doing this for all the Make a Wish kids out there. Always there for the kids. Like that's and some of his promos can actually be gratifying, carry weight, build over for a pay-per-view. Actually, I actually felt stuff when he was feuding with Orton, Triple H, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, because he just had more legitimacy over as he talked. And by the way, he also had an identifiable voice. Whenever you know how much a good wrestler is when they have an identifiable promo style, and that's why Cena literally is John Cena. People know how he talks. Whenever you hear Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns talk, or any other tall babyface currently in the company, they nearly talk the same monotone, weirdo, just generic babyface talking ability with no identity. And just seeing most of what he can, he's literally the most recent movie star we have. Miz does D-list shit movies from specific WWE branding for the Marine, because Marine's the only movie franchise WWE can essentially profit on, because now their network streaming service is now so minimalized as just a part of Peacock. And the smart thing is Vince is such a genius businessman that he's able to at least make that work over decline of quality. And just seeing that Cena is a freaking movie star, an A-list celebrity. He grabs headlines when he's in reality shows. He made Nikki Bella relevant, and essentially pushed her over to the mainstream just by dating him. He can do any type of comedic role, and he's a actually good talker. He seems like an intelligent guy. He's in Bumblebee, G.I. Joe. That should have been a fit for him to begin with. I mean, obviously, you have a buff dude with a buzz cut saluting that can talk. I mean, what else are you supposed to say except G.I. Joe? Uh, G.I. Joe, some of the Transformer films. I think he's going to be in Suicide Squad as well as Fast and the Furious. So, you tell me, like, who else is going to be headlining over with movies? And if Cena was a heel persona now and did a movie star gimmick, I would actually believe that more because people know who John Cena is. Another reason why Cena should not be getting this much hate, he's the only mainstream top guy anybody brings up still when it involves WWE. It's like whenever people reference what goes on in WWE today, it's like, oh, is John Cena still there? Because it's John Cena. As much as we want to push over Roman Reigns, uh, with the heel persona, or Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley. I bet a few people are going to say Bobby Lashley. A rarity of people even knows who's on the current roster right now because they're so interchangeable. Because some of them lack even a character that they're going to just be released over in the next week, and people are going to keep with give these jobbers a chance gimmick because they know they have nothing to bundle up other than they can wrestle good. And then it's like, oh, why did Andrade get released? He's done those great matches with Mysterio, and what else? Tell me what else? I'm still waiting, bro. Like you can say that a guy had a seven, he had literally a best of seven match, and all of them were gradual 5-star classics with cool spots. But did that really like sell anything? Like all you're telling me is most of these guys that you say are forcing down my throat, these are that are potential main eventers, are garnering like 1.7s. When Cena was there over the main event scene, Raw was still at a 3.1 or over. And he still has the most memorable feuds. Cena with Punk, Cena with Punk, Bryan, Orton, Undertaker, Batista, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kane. He made nearly any of those mid-carders over just by being with him. The Rock literally sold over a pay-per-view, made a dream match. When's the last time you actually hear any of these jobbers be like, oh, I want to see this in a dream match? No, Cena can make a dream match because he's actually a top star. And it's just sad to hear this overly, and even Chavo Guerrero talk shit about John Cena. It's like, Chavo, you're always permanently mid card. By the way, Cena doesn't need to get over off talking about a deceased family member. Like that's technically your character. Cena's like literal like wrestling Superman because he's an actual over the top character that people can know. By the way, Cena is a memorable character. Whenever anybody's gonna bring up WWE these days, they're gonna reference John Cena. He's the over the top Supermanic character that fights over for what he believes is right, always fights over stuff, no sells it, and does crazy and actually does memorable matches. And by the way, I'm sick of people always pointing. His early days, he was green. Like you guys don't know what green is. Okay, you're saying like probably '05 to 2007 he was green or some shit. Like, don't you forget he was making Great Khali look good? He wasn't that bad of a guy in the spot, and he can actually sell. He made Mark Henry look like a star, Ryback look like a star, Great Khali look like a dangerous guy to fight. Like, what do you guys mean by if somebody's green? Last time I checked, yeah, Cena can be a bit vocal whenever catching over the spots. And yeah, Cena sometimes over a repetitive nature. It's still memorable moves. Here's another reason: people know his move set. But like, what are you supposed to see whenever you see Rollins? Suicide dive, super kick, Phoenix splash. It's like Cena. It's like, oh, I know this is John Cena stuff. Like 5 knuckle shuffle, shoulder tackle, lay down. He gets ready for the 5 knuckle shuffle. The leg drop over the head, or the AA and the STF. People know what those moves are, and people and kids pretend to do them. No kid wants to do a fucking curb stomp or a Phoenix splash and roll up super kicks. They want to do cool moves that make them look dominant. Like, like please. Even Cena, like back when he's feuding with Punk, he was like, I get to save shit. I have to get these internet smarks to telling me I need to probably change up my 5 moves of doom, add a 6 move, or if I increased my work rate, and like he literally said that in a promo involving CM Punk when he was doing the contract signing back before SummerSlam of 2011. He literally said that. He knows how much these are annoying internet smarks that don't get how this works. And guess what? People are still going to watch him because he's that big of a star. Even if that was the summer of Punk, people were going to give a shit more about Cena and The Rock more than they were going to care about whoever CM Punk was facing. Even if it was Daniel Bryan and Punk back in WrestleMania 28. That will always hit mid card. Don't get me wrong, Punk is a talented individual in most parts, but he will never main event when we have stars like Cena, and that's okay. He made also Total Bellas watchable. I mean Total Divas. Yeah, he made Total Divas. He was just so much of an authoritarian over with his relationship with Nikki Bella. It was actually entertaining to watch. Well, like this is a 70 something page document. I need you to read so we can go over these agreements. And also we'll have sex at 12 o'clock. Just to show how much he like is an overall alpha. That's how cool Cena is. And yeah, I wasn't always the biggest supporter of Cena. Like I liked Batista more. I was kind of glad, okay, in a sadistic way back in the day because I was a kid and I wasn't always the biggest like thing with Cena that he kind of injured him back at SummerSlam '08. But I still have a deeper respect for Cena because who else could be with that much over a longevity of time, but being a top star and garner that much of mainstream ability of himself that he's as big as the WWE now that he can make himself more notable over as Hollywood, even if his movies flop because Cena's a draw. And nobody wants to admire that because everybody's about wrestling now. But being a draw means something, even if you don't even know 7 moves. If you're able to do memorable spots, talk and hype over matches, you're a straw. That's how it is over for Cena. He sold over stuff with WrestleMania 28. Still, people want him to do dream matches. Always improves overly in the ring. Super cooperative. I've never heard a wrestler outside ever saying that Cena's even a poor worker to be around to begin with. So anybody even making this accumulative stuff, like berating John Cena, all because he's not a CM Punk, all because he's not a Daniel Bryan, is because Cena's bigger than that. So yeah, that's practically it. I mean, I wanted to do an awesome video on Batista. I mean, an appreciation video over for Batista as well, because he's personally one of my favorites. But just seeing what he's doing currently on social media, kind of questioning me. I mean, but I will do him as a wrestler. And I know Cena's a public figure, so he had to do that type of apology video. So what else is he gonna do? But that's it coming from the video. Tell me who else deserves a bit more appreciation over for the wrestling biz that probably the IWC doesn't bring up because like Cena gets I think too much disrespect even though how much he's done for the business, still making pro wrestling a bit relevant and financially backing and making WWE at least a bit at least somewhat still mainstream. So that's it coming from me. Thanks for watching. That's it.